Thank you, Sabina. Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, dear liberal friends. Let me express my sincere satisfaction that we were able to organize this conference marking this very special event that we have these days, and it's 20 years of liberals in Bosnia-Herzegovina. I sincerely welcome everybody who came here to make this special days looking well, looking good for us, because it is really something that this country probably has never had before. I would like to wish a special welcome to our guests who had to travel from far away. And that's, first of all, our missing panelist, Vice President of the Liberal International and the Member of European Parliament, Mr. Jelko Kacin. He seemed to be very interesting for media. He is a real liberal. He gives a very nice and open statements. Here he is, so we can greet him. The Secretary General of the Liberal International, Mr. Emil Kyrias. Emil is somewhere there. You probably met with him some time before. The Chairman of the Swedish International Liberal Center, Mr. Lennart Nordfors. Lennart is here. The General Secretary of SILC, Mr. Martin Engeby. Martin is in one of our first panelists. The Vice President of the sister NHS party from Croatia, Mr. Jozo Radoš, which is sitting beside me. Mr. Bart Wood, the President of International Federation of Liberal Youth, IFLERY. Bart is there. Mr. Alois Rigaud, the President of European Liberal Youth, LIMEC. Welcome. So, we are sorry that the President of European Liberal Demokratska, LDR, Mrs. Annemie Nates, was not well enough to travel to Sarajevo yesterday. And we looked very much forward to greet her, I think, third or fourth time in the last couple of years, but sometimes some events prevent people to travel. We are also sorry that our two guests from Russia, who were supposed to participate in the SILC seminar, also being held here, could not join us due to the visa issues. This is a most unfortunate event, but it will give us incentive to fight even more for one of our key liberal values, as Martin yesterday mentioned the day before yesterday, and that's a world without borders and without visa regimes. That's what we liberals want like to have. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats from European Parliament, the third strongest alliance in the European Parliament, for their last-minute financial support that enabled us to organize this conference. On this very occasion, I could tell you probably about our 20 years of impossible circumstances, about the survival of liberalism in Bosnia-Herzegovina without a single precondition for that survival, but I will not. Because, as you can see, we are still here and we have survived. I would rather that we talk about how we liberals can find a way out of the impossible situation Bosnia and Herzegovina is currently find itself in, a situation that all our guests are familiar with, and especially those of you from the region. Bosnia and Herzegovina has remained the final black hole in the tissue of united Europe. It has remained this because for the past almost 20 years it has been ruled by nationalism. At the beginning of the 90s, nationalism prepared the conditions for a terrible war. Nationalism waged the war, and in all the 14 post-war years, it is nationalism that stands in the way of recovery and EU integration of Bosnia-Herzegovina. How can liberalism fight nationalism? What should be political answer of liberal Democrats to nationalism? That is one of the topics of this conference. So I hope we can find some answers to this question. We have to find answer because it is a crucial question for our country and for some others, for us in Bosnia-Herzegovina certainly. How could we, as liberals, face the global challenges of the modern world and keep basic liberal values in the same time? By other words, what should be liberalism of 21st century? This is the topic that we will take about in the afternoon. Second important issue for us in this country, a number of other countries as well, as for Europe generally, is European enlargement and specific question. What could be the role of liberal parties in countries in transition? This is the first topic that we are going to discuss this morning. At the end of my introduction, I hope that we will hear some interesting lectures and participate in even more interesting discussions about these important questions that we liberals have to find the way how to deal with. I wish us all interesting day of discussions, socializing. We will have some opportunity for that. And I hope all of you will feel as at home. That's what we like to say here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady President, for your very inspiring and very warmly open speech. So before we start with the work, I would